Welcome back, Sober Family. This is another episode of Recovery Talk, brought to you by Pro Recovery Power. Now, before we get into today's live show, I just want again to thank everybody for all the love, support, and the prayers in this time of mourning. Me and my family, we lost my mom. So life is getting better. Life will continue to go on. We really miss my mom. I really love my mom. But it's getting better. So thank you guys all for all the prayers, the love and support again. Also, a couple more announcements. So the Pro Recovery Power website is up. It's a brand new website. If you guys would be so kind, on the bottom right hand corner, there's a survey down there. If you click on that, it's just a few basic questions that I would ask if you guys could please fill out. Take you about 30 seconds to do that. And also every Wednesday night, Pro Recovery Power, we host a non-denominational meeting. All fellowships, all support groups, everybody is welcome. I want to just clarify a little bit about what I mean, because some people have asked. So a non-denominational meeting, all fellowships. There are many different fellowships, 12-step fellowships out there. So what I'm saying is they're all welcome. Now, there are support groups I talked about. Now, there are other people who have been affected by an alcoholic or by a drug addict that go to their own little support meetings, I guess you could say. Those people are welcome as well. So I just want to clarify that before we get started. Also, one last thing. I did make mention of this last week. I'm going to mention it, a few more times. I'm only going live on Saturdays now. I used to go live Saturday and Sunday for almost about a year. But now I'm only going live on Saturdays, but it's going to be with two different guests. So right now at noon, Pacific Standard Time, my next guest will be on at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys don't want to miss that one either. And if you have a story to tell, or you know somebody that does, have them reach out to me, because I'm filling up my calendar for this month of April. Okay, so now, let's see. My friend Matt is going to be on right now today. Matt is, you guys know him. He is the creator of A Life Recovered on Instagram. I know a lot of us, we all follow Matt, but he's going to be here today to tell his story. And I'm really excited about it, because I know bits and pieces and things of his story, but today we all get to hear his entire story. So let me get Matt on real quick. Okay, here we go. There he is.
Going on?
What's up, bro? How's it going?
Instagram.
How you doing, Matt?
Doing pretty good. Enjoying the weekend, clean and sober. Good.
All right.
Hearing
Right on.
your channel here. Thank you.
Yeah. How's the weather out there in San Diego? Is it hot? It's like summer already.
Dude, you know we get what we pay for out here.
Yeah.
Hot this past week. It was almost up to 90.
Woo!
My outdoor workouts, trying to get back in shape. I put a little weight on, dude. But it's been nice, man. It's beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky. So.
Oh, all right.
Nothing,
bro. I know we've been trying to get together for a little while now. I remember, I forget, I met you through Instagram like a long time ago. And I started following you. Then I remember we were talking about doing this, and I mean, I'm just glad that now we're finally doing it. I get to hear your whole story, which is amazing, bro. And it's very inspirational, and really helps me, even though I host these. Every single time I do it, bro, I always get more inspiration. It's just the fire in me just burns, brighter and brighter. So I thank you, bro, for taking the time out. I know you did a podcast earlier today too, so you're a busy guy today. You know?
And it's only today. It's usually just the Instagram and everybody else's story, but today's kind of been a lot of me talking about my own story, which is cool. It's an interesting change, but I'm posting everybody else's story because we have to hear about every individual. It's not one guy.
Yeah, right. Okay, Matt. So before you get into your story and tell us everything, I want to ask you some questions. Now, the first question is, so how long have you been sober now?
So I just hit my 6-month mark about 2 weeks ago. I had a relapse back in September
Uh-huh.
after 19 months. So I'll get into that, but yeah, a little over. So.
All right, and then well, I kind of said where you're from, but my next question was going to be where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm actually originally from Connecticut. I'm from the East Coast, and military eventually brought me out here to San Diego. Now I'm out of the military and living out here.
Okay, and how long you been living there now?
So I got here in 2014,
Okay.
and I've been a civilian since 2018.
Okay, all right, man. Hey, thank you for your service, bro. I didn't know you were in the military.
Yeah, it wasn't the most graceful exit, but it was good while I was.
Okay, and then last question before you get into your story, Matt. So, what was your choice in drink and or drug?
Man, I was a partier. Alcohol was always my foundation, but I always, I liked the cocaine, and then eventually, once I ran out of money for that, it was meth.
Uh-huh. Okay, gotcha. Okay, man. Well, I'm really excited to hear, your story now. So at this time, Matt, I'll give you the floor. You can tell us your story.
All right. So, yeah, Matt, 32 years old, originally from the East Coast, living out in San Diego, California now. I do the page of Life Recovered, which has been super fun. I started that in July 2020, when we were in the pandemic, and I saw a lot of people going backwards in their struggle with addiction. They were facing domestic violence, suicidal tendencies, things like that. So it's cool to be a part of my community of AA, which I do. Everybody that they do, whether it's Celebrate Recovery, Smart Recovery, AA, NA. Some people just do Instagram, you know what I mean? Everybody's got their own. AA is my thing, but I do like, obviously the community we have here is freaking Every time I went to detox or rehab or something like that, they would always ask me, what happened in your childhood, or what was that moment or that experience that made you resort to drugs and alcohol, and that brought you into this rock bottom or wherever you are at now in this dark life? What happened? You know what I mean? And I would always I'd think about it for days on end, and I even still think about it. I can't think of anything. I had a childhood. I had parents that were well off. I had every opportunity to succeed. I grew up in a beautiful part of New England, and I didn't want for anything. I was very fortunate in that respect, and a lot of us aren't as fortunate as me. But it doesn't matter where you come from or what you have or what you don't have. We get in that same place, as a lot of us know. Addiction affects everyone. It doesn't care what race or your age or your sex, like that, or your orientation, whatever. So I started using at a pretty normal age, about 15 or 16, a little alcohol here and there. I started smoking pot. I was introduced to pot, at the football game in the woods, like cool.
Yeah.
But, I grew up in a public school. That was, when I went to high school, the Grateful Dead was really big, and jam bands were really big, and it was like people were trying to still continue the Dazed and Confused movie or something like that. You know what I mean? And it was like, so I started experimenting a lot, and I started enjoying marijuana. I started loving the drink, and my grades were kind of falling behind because most of my childhood and my life was focused on pleasing everybody else. I was kind of a chameleon of sorts because I was always friends with every group of people. I hung out with the nerds at lunch, and I liked hanging out with the jocks and the sports guys, before school. And, I hung out with some of the kids that listened, to rap music. And so I was friends with everybody. I had the award for most humorous in 8th grade. You know what I mean? So, I like being the funny guy, and I like being friends with everyone. But with all these pieces that I gave for everybody else, I didn't really keep pieces for myself. My grades were slacking, and my parents said, "Hey, let's give you an opportunity to go to boarding school, to prep school." So prep school in 2007 in upstate New York. And in upstate New York, it was a double-edged sword. It was a blessing and a curse, because while I worked best in a structured environment, and while my grades did great, and I was, co-captain of my varsity golf team, I also got introduced to hard drugs. I got introduced to pills. I got introduced to ketamine from a kid that had a horse farm that would come back, and you know what I mean? So I got to all these mushrooms and LSD and like all this stuff that the kids were bringing in. You know, it was a boarding school, so I lived there. But that was at a point where the drug use and the drinking and stuff was manageable. You know, they were a functional alcoholic or a functional. In that time, I might have been functioning, but towards the end, it was never functioning. I was always managing. You know, showing up late and having the fear in the military, drug tests and all that stuff, which I'll get into. That's not functioning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just doing what you need to do to get by on a day. You're not progressing in life. Me, I wasn't happy. You know what I mean? So I was really managing, but my grades didn't suffer yet, you know, until I got accepted to University of Rhode Island. You know, I had great grades at prep school, so I was able to get into a decent school, and I went up north to go to school from Connecticut, and that's where everything, I was fucked, man.
Yeah.
I stopped. The structure was gone. And then college, all of a sudden, you can do whatever you want, but you got to be at school on time, or you got to be in class on time. You got to do your homework. You got to get decent grades. I did none of those. So on the second year of sophomore year, they told me, I got a letter in the mail, and it was like, you are not invited back to the university. And I was like, that's fair. I haven't done shit in 2 years. So I was like, it is what it is, you know? And I laugh about it now, but my dad was pretty pissed off because he had sent me years to further my education at University of Rhode Island. He still tells me to this day, he told me this morning, he was like, hey, by the way, don't forget, you still owe me $100,000, you know? I'm working on that. I'm working on that, you know? So, but anyway, I got kicked out of school. I came back, and that's where my addiction took off. I was doing a lot of cocaine. I didn't realize that my drug use and my alcohol use, I was still telling myself that it was a phase, you know? Now I'm 22. I'm 7 years into drinking and drugging. I've had a lot of consequences. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Broke up.
Yeah, there we go.
I already had 2 or 3 totaled cars, you know, so I was already suffering all these consequences, but I was telling myself that it was a phase, you know. And then, you know, the phase continued, and my parents told me, hey, get the fuck out of our house, excuse my language, or join the military. So I said, okay, military. I joined the military. I decided I would, you know, I was a scuba diver. I was a certified diver. So I said, well, let me go for the Navy diver program. So I went into the hardest program possible. I did boot camp with Navy SEALs, EODs, which are the guys from like the movie The Hurt Locker, Explosive, Air Rescue, all these challenge programs, right? So I did this 9-week program, super freaking hard, dude. Hardest thing I've ever done before I got sober. And I came out of that, was in training for a bit, about to get my dive pin and be like elite military, huge accomplishment. And they told me one thing, do one thing, don't drink at the training command. I got caught. I was bottom of the barrel, and I went to the fleet with no job, and I was just miserable. I had a chip on my shoulder. I felt that everybody fucking owed me. Society, college owes me. My parents owe me. The Navy now owes me for screwing me over, you know? And it was always everybody else's fault. I still wasn't at a point in my life where I could look at myself and be like, dude, you are the one that's fucking up. You are the miserable. You are the reason you're still drinking. You know what I mean? It was still everybody else's fault at that point. So eventually, you know, I got sent to Japan. I was in Japan from 2011 to 2014. I did 4 deployments on the USS George Washington, an aircraft carrier out there. And I was dating a girl at the time towards the end. I came back. I got transferred to San Diego. And from San Diego, that's where my I was using actually the entire time I was in. I have random drug tests in the military. So I was jumping through hoops all the time. You know what I mean? But on deployment, they don't really drug test you. We were working like 18, 19-hour days sometimes up on the flight deck, like in the South Pacific, hot as shit. Everybody's miserable. You know what I mean? So they gave us some slack. So I was sneaking. I was stuff forward and stuff like that. And when I got to shore duty in San Diego out here, I was stationed in Coronado, California. And that's when it got bad. My drinking picked up. I was out of work at 2:30 every single day. And my drinking just took off, dude. It just became if I wasn't drinking, I was thinking about the next drink, you know. Point where, you know, my girlfriend at the time and I, we were going separate ways. I knew that my drinking was in trouble because I was drinking every morning, dude. I was waking up at 6 o'clock, putting my uniform on. I had mini bottles of 99 bananas and 99 peppermint schnapps and 99 orange and 99 apple and 99 vanilla and all of them, dude. I had them in my cargo pockets of my NWUs, my Navy uniform. And I was just going throughout the day, sneaking in the bathroom, whoop, popping them in the trash. You know what I mean? It was just a never ending fucking cycle, dude. And I knew I was in trouble because, dude, I was making good money. I was making really good money. I was getting a housing allowance to live out in town in a nice apartment in San Diego. And I was saving nothing, dude. I was saving nothing. I was spending like $4 or $5 grand a month on what? On nothing. I had nothing to show. I had a failing relationship. I had a failing career. And that was it. And so I was like, dude, fuck, I can't lose this. I still want to keep my paycheck on the 1st and the 15th. So I self-referred is what it's called. I self-referred to my chain of command in the military. And I said, hey, I got a drinking problem, not a drug problem. I can't tell you about that. Right? So I told him I had a drinking problem. I said, okay, we're going to send you to treatment. So I went to treatment. And this was the first time. This is 2016. I'm 2 years into San Diego now, right? Most beautiful place in the world. And they sent me to SARP, which is Substance Abuse Rehabilitation Program, which is the rehab for the Navy, rehab for the military. There's Army guys there, Marines, Navy, what have you, right? So that's when I got introduced to AA. They took me to an AA meeting, and I was like, dude, this sucks. This game is hell, you know? But everybody looks kind of happy, and they look like they're actually like kind of content with their life, you know. And everybody was going around and they were like sharing, and it seemed genuine, and the words that were coming out of their mouth kind of matched the emotions on their face. And I was like, okay, they can't all be bullshitting. Like, if they're all here to pretend that everything's okay because I'm here, we have a problem. There's no way they're doing that. This isn't, you know, I thought this was an inside job. Couldn't be. So I gave it a shot. I mean, well, I didn't give it a shot. I was told you have to give it a shot because you have to go to the meeting. So I was going back and forth. Anyway, I left there. I relapsed a week later. I ended up popping for drugs in the military. I went on about a 3-day bender on meth. And on the 3rd day, I didn't wake up for work. And I woke up at a friend's house, and it was noon, and I was supposed to be at work at 6:30. They're like, where are you? I get in there, and they're like, dude, they already knew I had already self-referred. They already knew I was an addict and an alcoholic, and I had issues. They said, dude, we're taking you to the hospital, the VA hospital. We're going to run your blood and run your urine. Dude, what am I going to do? I was escorted there. They took everything from me, and they found just a fucking rainbow in my system, dude. I had things that, dude, they read off some of the things on there. They were like, oh, this barbiturate, this and that. And I was like, dude, I didn't do that. And I must have, dude. I don't know when I did that shit. You know, I was just like, they were reading this thing off to me, and they were like, dude, are you okay? And I was like, I mean, yeah, it's Tuesday, you know, like, you know, and needless to say, that was the beginning of my exit from the military. So I ended up getting another than honorable discharge, you know, and which wasn't good. You know, the discharges in the military go honorable, general, general, other than honorable, bad conduct, and dishonorable. So there's a lot of things before you get to dishonorable. Dishonorable is like rape, treason, trafficking weapons, like things like that, right? Any drug charge or a standard, you know, if you pop for drugs or whatever, it's other than honorable, 0 benefits. So I got out of the military with a bad discharge, said, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I'm just going to sell cocaine. Everybody's already left. Girlfriend's already left. I'm going to move out to East County, which actually I didn't realize that El Cajon, California used to be the meth capital of the world before like Philippines took it and other places, right? So it was all out there, right? So I was handing down the worst And keep in mind, I had already been introduced to AA, so I knew recovery was there, but I didn't want that yet. I still wanted to do 60 or 70%. You know what I mean? And that extra 30 or 40% of the work that I wasn't doing had me back into rehab and detoxes and failing and cocaine and lines and drinks, right? So I was in East County, and I ended up getting in a ton of trouble, dude. I thought I was this big time coke dealer, which I was not at all. I was the worst dealer ever. I did all of my product. Mm-hmm. People would call me and they'd be like, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? I wouldn't remember who they were. I would tell them I had nothing. I mean, I was hands down the worst drug dealer of all time, dude. It was awful. I did all my product. I got into debt. Navy Federal Credit Union still had me as an active military member. So I was taking out interest-free loan, dude. All of a sudden, bam, I'm like 40 grand in debt, dude. But I'm not paying that shit back. Fuck it, dude. Like, I didn't care, you know? So I was still running and gunning and still doing all the same shit, right? Until all of a sudden it caught. I was living a life of lying to women. I was just completely addicted. I ran out of money for cocaine, so I switched over to meth at this point. Now I was pinning it, so I was using an IV, right? So I was an IV meth user, which you always tell yourself, I'll do this, but I'm never going to do that. You know, I'm going to do this, but I'll never do that. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden now, dude, I got no apartment, and I'm sharing needles with people in the street behind 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? I used to hang out behind the Home Depot, you know, like for my spots, dude, you know, and it started to get really ugly. And I was just a liar and a master manipulator, which I became very good at in the military, because I hid my addiction, and I hid drug abuse for like 7 years, dude. You know, it was a long time hiding that shit. So I got good at it. You know, I got good at hiding, like we all do. We all get good at that stuff, you know, because we have to. Because I would protect the drink and the drug at all costs, you know. And I got in a lot of trouble. I still had a car and a license at that point, and I got 2 DUIs in 1 month by the same California Highway Patrolman. Had 2 DUIs by the same cop in a month, dude. I have the paperwork right over there. On the first DUI, I got caught with cocaine, bagged up, with a scale, intent to sell. So he pulled me over. His probable cause was I had no registration ticket on the back of my thing. Mm-hmm. But the probable cause was I was leaving fucking a strip club in Lemon Grove at like 2 a.m, fucked out of my mind, you know, completely faded, excuse my language, completely faded. And I was probably all over the place. Anyway, he pulled me over. So I was facing a lot of time for that. So before I even got to court for my first, I had my second. So when I got to court, I had 2 DUIs, possession of cocaine with intent to sell, driving on a suspended license, driving expired registration. It was just a whole plethora of charges. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I had met a girl in my life, right? And she's actually now my wife. Her name is Janet. I'm sure you've seen her in photos and stuff. But she knew I was struggling, dude. But I don't think she knew the extent of it, because I was still really good at hiding it. And I don't think she knew that I was actually in psychosis at this point. I was started to lose my mind. I was seeing a lot of things that weren't there. You know, I was talking to family back on the East Coast and things like that. And I would, you know, pause on the phone with them and think so. And then I'd hang up, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I always thought it was after me, dude. It was really bad. On my second DUI, I actually was going about 75 or 80 miles an hour to get on the freeway after a 3-day bender on Crystal. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where I was going, but I was going. I thought the cartel was after me because the guy I was picking up cocaine with was actually getting it from across the border. I owed him $100. I thought people were after me, right? Mm-hmm. Over happened to be the same cop. It was all bad. So, but yeah, so my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, had moved me in. I was struggling, went to court. Court said, I walked into court, and anybody in East County courthouse is there for meth. You know, it is not a pretty sight when you walk into that courthouse. It looks like one giant fucking detox, that courthouse. Mm-hmm. And I went in there, and I had a public defender. She read all the charges on that thing. And she was like, so I told her, I said, hey, ma'am, female judge, I said, hey, everything you see on that piece of paper is accurate. I did all of those things. You know, I had a ton of drugs in my system. I was careless. I was reckless. And dude, I'm glad I pulled over, because I would definitely would have killed someone. You would have read about me on the news for sure that night. And I told her, hey, I would love some help if you're willing to give me some help. And dude, I don't know what it was. I got the biggest break ever, man. Not only did I not get any felonies, but I got 0 jail time.
Wow.
Busted it down and threw out the intent to sell charge. I got charged with possession, and, you know, suspended life. I got all the charges for that, but I got no felonies, no intent to sell or anything. So I got sent to 18 months DUI school. I got trash pickup on the highway for X amount of time. But I also had to register as a narcotics offender for the state of California, that's the killer right there. So when you run my Social Security, I don't look very good on paper, dude. In fact, I look, you know? So anyway, I had left there. I was like, okay, you know, I went back and forth with sobriety for a little bit, sober living, this and that. My girlfriend, we had developed a relationship. We were dating, but we had one bad night. This was kind of the turning point. I was in and out of the room still, but we had gotten into an argument one night in a fight, and I had pushed her, and hands were on each other, and it was not good. Now I had crossed the line. You know, my father taught me when I was young to be a gentleman, and you don't do that, you know, and I did that, and it was bad, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try this treatment thing one more time. And I gave it a shot, and I went to the Lighthouse in Anaheim, California, and it changed my life. You know, I had a spiritual experience there, and I thought spiritual experiences were for, you know, people that don't talk for years on end. They sit above mountaintops and feet, and they fucking just sit like this for like weeks. You know what I mean? And it turns out that actually anyone can have a spiritual experience, because I had one, you know, and it wasn't this crazy thing, sort of a realization. And it was like a break from my sober. I was in a yoga session, dude. And this yoga session was sloppy, dude. You had like heroin addicts, like 3 days off heroin. In this yoga session, we're like fat, like sweating and all these poses, you know, it was like, look, you know. And I had this realization when it was foggy, just this yoga, and I'm like trying all these poses, and finally she's like, okay, it's the end. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God. I'm like dying, dude. I like lay back, and the sun comes out, and this ray of light like hits my face. I just had a realization. I was like, dude, like I have to do this. And if I put forth 100%, if I give everything to this, I can get it. I need to start listening to the people in these rooms, because I had met some good people, you know? And when I was in treatment, we had these people came into our meetings that like were at these bottoms that like you can't even Google the shit that I was hearing in these rooms. It was like so bad. This guy that was in prison for like 24 years came out, and now he's like crushing life. And I was like, how are these people doing this? Like I haven't gotten that bad, you know? And I always told myself, this is as bad as it's gonna get. Just commit to the life on the streets. It can't get any worse. Yes, it can, dog. Always gets worse. You know, I told myself after, you know, it's never going to get worse. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting in jail. It can't get any worse in jail. Now I'm in jail again, and I have psychosis. So I think everybody's ready to fight me. You know what I mean? Like it just always got worse, dude. And so I said from then on in, I was going to put 100% into this. I'm going to fucking do this, you know? And I worked on myself, dude. That was 6 days of treatment from March to May. Did the most work on myself that I've ever done in my life. I took a look at like who I was, and I put forth everything into these meetings. When I was looking at these people and having these conversations, you know, sometimes I would hear these lies come out of my mouth, and I'd be like, oh my God, dude, like, why did I say that? You know, like these little things too. Like, did you take the trash out? Yeah, I took it out. No, you didn't, dude. He took it out. Why are you lying about that? That's so stupid, you know? And I'd have to pull these things back, all this bullshit, because I was so used to manipulating, lying, and just scheming and all this bullshit for so long, you know? And I was getting better. I started to look at myself, and I realized that alcohol and drugs were the solution to all this stuff, dude. Like, I had all these other problems, you know? I just got diagnosed with bipolar 1, you know, and of course, like most of us addicts, we have a little bit of anxiety and depression, and, you know, a lot of that medication I kind of threw out, to be honest with you. But there is some medication that I do take that helps me a lot, you know. But I had these underlying issues, and I had some other things going on that I didn't realize, you know. And my coping mechanism and my go-to was alcohol. And dude, alcohol was my best friend. You know, like everybody left, when all my friends left and my family left and everybody was gone, the bottle was always there. And that liquor store was always open at 7 a.m. And there was always a Four Loko at 7-Eleven. And there was always a mini bottle down the road, you know. And it was always there. It was a go-to, and it was a friend that I could trust. I could always trust that that thing would take me out of my element and get me out of my sense of reality that I didn't want to fucking be in. I don't want to face this. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with it, you know? And like all those acronyms, I had to, you know, face everything and rise, fuck everything and run. You know, I had to look at it, dude. And I had to go, okay, I really have to look at myself, and I have to get through this without booze. Like, fuck, it sucks. You know, like, I still couldn't really come to terms with the fact that, like, I checked myself into this because I actually know that I can never drink or use a mind-altering substance again. I left rehab. I went to sober living. My wife helped me get my resume together, and you know, I started applying to government jobs, and they basically laughed at me, dude. They looked at like everything I had on paper. They're like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Get the fuck out of my house." You know, worth a shot. But I eventually got it. So in the military towards the end, I was how people paint cars and stuff. I had my own paint booth, and I was actually F-18s and stuff. It was really cool job. So I got a job at a boatyard, and I was getting paid like cash W-9 employee, and it was pretty cool because it was $20 an hour right out of rehab. Dude, I had 2 DUIs on my record, registered narcotics offender. I was a criminal. I did not look good on paper, and this guy gave me decent money. I was like, okay, cool. So I took it. And I was at sober living, mind you. I went rehab right to sober living. Because for anybody watching this right now, if you are in rehab and you go right back to the same stuff you were doing before, it's very hard to succeed. Because I tried that time. So I went to sober living, and after sober living, at sober living, I had found that job, and I didn't realize that my boss was an alcoholic and an addict. And, I would show up to work at 8 a.m. and by 9 a.m. he was coming out kind of pissed off, telling me what to do, which yacht to work on. And he had a beer in his hand, smoking a joint. And I was like, damn, dude, like, this is good money. But, like, what's happening right now is exactly what they told me to look out for in early sobriety. Like, This is the tool. I now have a tool, like, that I have to use. And I was like, but the money, you know? And I was like, and I left the job because I was about to, I saw it coming, dude. I was like, dude, I see this coming. I can't do this. So I left that job, and I was working out at this time, and I was walking everywhere. I had no license, so Uber and Lyft and the trolley and everything was my life. And I was at 24 Hour Fitness one day, and I got a message from Indeed.com because I touched up my resume, and, you know, I painted a nice picture on paper, you know, of what I could do, you know. And this guy who is actually now still my boss, his name is Ryan, and he is an agency owner at Allstate in Hillcrest, San Diego. And, hey, I saw your resume. I'd like you to come in for an interview. So I said, okay. So I went in for an interview and sat down. But for you, I want to be a part of your team. I don't have the greatest background. I am in recovery. I told him that. I said, but while we're waiting for my background check to clear, I'll work for you for a month. You don't even have to pay me. Just give me a shot. Just give me a chance. And so he took me on, and he gave me a chance. And after he gave me a chance, you know, I was waiting for my background. My background check cleared with Allstate because it was only misdemeanors, and I had no financial crimes. And now my relationship is going well with my now wife, Janet. We weren't married. I got that job in August of 2019. I'm still, my background check cleared. Then I had to wait to get my license. So I'm working for this guy for another 6 months, but I passed the state exam, but the Department of Insurance said, hey, yeah, your background check cleared with Allstate, but I don't trust that you're going to do this judge background. dude, you were just driving on meth 2 years ago. I'm not letting you transact insurance in the state of California. So I did an appeal process. I did a whole court hearing, and eventually my license. I have a restricted license by the state of California. So the same state that was going to give me time in prison, years later, gave me a license to transact insurance in the same state. So, you know, when people say that it can't be done, or, oh, fuck it, I'm never going to get that. Well, dude, I felt the same way until I actually put in the work. I did the appeals. I went to court. I got the documents. I got it. Ended up working out, you know. I July of 20, I started a life recovered. You know, I saw a lot of people going backwards in their struggle, and I saw people, you know, people were getting suicidal, and the pandemic was hitting people hard, man. A lot of relapses, and friends, and one of them had passed away, you know, and I was like, damn, dude, like, let me at least start this little community where we can all share our story, tell what's going on. We can all be successful, because there's no meetings. I was tired of Zoom, you know. So I started that, and I got married, and all of a sudden, dude, I got money coming. We're looking at buying a house. I got which I'm helping. I mean, I had a lot of guys reaching out to me, and the women that were reaching out to me, I sent them to other females on the page, you know, because I'm a believer that men help men and women help women. You know what I mean? That's not, you know what I mean? So, but I realized my book, my AA book, was collecting dust. And Instagram was some people can only do Instagram. I was only doing Instagram, and I ended up relapsing in September. You know, I thought I was doing all the right things. I was calling my sponsor, and I was, you know, I was at my job. I was showing up early, leaving late, you know, doing everything I was supposed to do, but I wasn't praying. You know, I wasn't talking to my higher power. I wasn't being thankful for the things that I had. I started to feel again like they might have been owed to me for all the bullshit hard times that I went through. And we were moving, and we had put in on a new house, on the house we're in right now, that I'm in right now. And I found a can of air duster. And my addict mind was like, dude, it's not a drink. It's not a drug. It's whatever. I hit it. I hit it without even thinking about it. I hit it without calling my sponsor. I hit it without thinking twice. All of a sudden, I felt that euphoric hit that part of my brain, dude. And within an instant, after 19 months clean, dude, 19 months, right away, I was back to square one, dude. I was in that cycle, and that phenomenon of craving, and that obsession. Now it's hit my brain. Now I have to start, and once I start, I can't stop. So my wife left for work. I called out of work, and I went to Target. I stole a couple cans of air from Target. I had the money to pay for them, but I didn't want to pay for them. You know what I mean? Lying, I'm manipulating, I'm stealing. What happened, dude? What happened to those 19 months? What happened? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, fuck, dude. Like, I sat down in my car, and I was like, I can't believe I just did that. Oh, but it felt good. I didn't have to pay for it. My wife, I got it. I get to go home and do this, right? Dude, I killed them all at home. My brain, I was on fucking Mars. She came home. She caught the can of air. She dropped to her knees. She threw the can. Fucking threw it all away, dude. She fucking... I don't want to get emotional, so I won't get into it anymore, but I was like, dude, my famous answer to when I was confronted with something, or my famous answer was to run and to leave, dude. My famous go-to was the Motel 6 on Fairmount Avenue, where I could lock myself in a room, maybe with women and some drugs if I could find it, but I always had alcohol, you know? And I'd be there for 4 or 5 days, and then I'll come out, and then I'll apologize, and then I'll tell you why these arrows of misfortune hit me, and I don't do this. You guys don't understand.
Yeah.
For me, dude. You know? And so I got in my car, and I left when she was yelling at me, and I parked outside of this liquor store, dude, and tears were coming down my face, and I was so emotional, dude. And I called my brother, and my brother was like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, get shit together. But in my mind, in our addict mindset, when we fuck up like that, when we do something like that, and we feel like it's all over. We feel like the 19 months or whatever we had, 2 weeks, whatever, is done, dude. It was all for nothing. It was fucking pointless. You know what I mean? And my brother was like, dude, I called my sponsor too. I was like, you have to walk into this liquor store. Like, it's over. I appreciate everything you've done for me. They were like, dude, you haven't. They even called me a pussy. He was like, dude, get it together. Get back home. Talk to your wife. You already fucked up the trust there. Get back in there and go talk to her and get your shit together right now. And I did. I didn't walk into that liquor store, dude. And I'm so thankful that I didn't walk into that liquor store, because like Will Ferrell in the Old School movie, dude. Once it hits your lips, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My lips, dude. I am like done, dude. I am like so about it. As soon as I get that taste. I mean, I even still smell hand sanitizer with this pandemic going on. And I'm like, yeah. I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. But I didn't walk into that liquor store, thank God. I got back on the horse right away and doing it, you know, and I'm 6 months sober again, and I'm still rebuilding that trust with my wife. You know what I mean? She's still nervous, and I don't blame her, dude. I can't blame her, because that woman wants to have a life with me, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have children with me. I think I got to go ask her, but she wants to do that stuff. But how scary is that? To know that my husband or my wife or my significant other or whatever, they might go back to me. They might bail on me. They might not be there for the kids. They might not pay the mortgage, and they might be out. Nobody. Who do I have? I'm left with all this stuff. We built this life, and then he's gone. Because that was my life for so long. I was a runner, dude. I was a runner. Oh, man, I love running. I'll run to the ends of the earth to get away from commitments and people and things I don't want to deal with, you know? But here I am, dude. You know, it is what it is. I look at my relapse, and what a learning lesson, dude, because I thought I had it all together. You know, like I said on my Instagram one day, I was like, dude, I could have had that wasn't going to happen to me. I got it together, dude.
Yeah.
I'm helping you guys stay sober. I'm good. I'm good. You know, like, no, you're not, dude. I thought I was good, though. That's how baffling powerful and how powerful this stuff is, you know? And so I have 19 plus 6 months now, that's 25 months. That's 25 months of good sobriety. It's not continuous, but good sobriety. I really worked on myself. I put in the time, I put in the work, and, you know, I mean, things are okay. Like, I've done a good job. I'm doing what I can do to stay sober. You know, I mean, today, like, I realized, like, as long as I'm 51% ahead of it, you know, when I fall percent mark, that's when I'm in real trouble. But as hard as it is, dude, like, I just do that little extra bump. Oh my God, I got to get back to, you know, I got to get back to the book. I got to open it. I might have a gratitude list, even though I don't want to. I don't want to write down 10 things. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's the story.
That's truly amazing, man. Truly amazing, bro. I'm so glad we're able to do this here today. And because I know you mentioned a little bit, like when we spoke a few months back about, you know, going live and everything. And it's just truly amazing, bro. Like you have, your story will give people so much hope, bro. I mean, because the odds are stacked against you. You're in the military. You did this. You did all these different things, you know. And then, but then you're quote unquote, you got your stuff, your life together now today, you know, bro. It's truly amazing. You know, you talked about a bunch of different things, bro. I was so engaged in what you were saying. I normally will write things down as somebody's talking, but I was just so engaged. I was like, oh crap. You know, you talked. I forgot what you were talking about. Oh yeah, you talked about something. It made me think about the question of, I asked myself the question, and I know the answer to it. For me personally, this is something I know about myself. I can never, ever, ever safely use drugs and alcohol again. Ever. I cannot. Just, you know, like, because like, no matter how much sobriety I got, how much time I'm away from the drink or the drug, I crossed that line over into addiction. Once I did, there's no coming back from it. Like that phenomenon of craving, all of a sudden, it's not going to disappear, you know, in me. Like 25 years later, you know, Like I can be sober 25 years. Boom, one drink. That's it. That's all I need, you know. And
Yep.
then bam, I'm back off running again, you know. And it's just for me, that's my truth. I know that about me. I can't talk about anybody else, but I could definitely relate with you, bro. 100%. Identify with so many different things that you said, so many different the thoughts you thought, the feelings you felt. It's just crazy, bro. You know, like you said, addiction it doesn't discriminate. Don't care how much money you got. If you're in the military, if you're from Hawaii, if you're boy, girl, whatever, it don't matter, bro. But it's just so amazing, man. Like I like to go work out now after this, man. You got me all pumped up. But
Emotional talking about, you know, it get every time I talk about every time I talk emotional because I was so sure that I wasn't capable of this. You know what I mean? I knew I was capable of a lot. You know, I made it through these training programs in the military and things like that. And but I just didn't think it was something that I was cut out for.
right, like yeah, I can relate, man.
Go ahead.
Oh no, because like, see, for me, like there's certain aspects of my life that like I was good at, but where drugs and alcohol was involved, I was strangely insane. It's just crazy. The stuff I you know I'm good with this. I'm okay with that. I'm good with people. I'm good with my business and my career, whatever, blah blah blah. But where drugs and alcohol is involved, I was strangely insane. A lot of those strange mental blank spots in my head. You know what I mean? They just totally elude my thinking. Like totally, like I give you a good example. I tell my clients this all the time, and even guys that I sponsor. Like if okay, like you're an alcoholic, so okay, I'll serve you up a drink. Like somebody, okay, I'm an alcoholic, you can give me a drink, but then they tell me, okay, yeah, you can have the drink, but if you take the drink, they pull out a gun, I'll shoot you. See, my mind doesn't think this. This is what my mind will think. Maybe there's no bullets in the gun. Maybe his finger will slip off the trigger. Maybe I can move out of the way fast enough to take the drink. Isn't that the thought of he will shoot me doesn't enter my mind. It's just crazy how, you know, cunning, baffling, and powerful, man, that this disease is. Like for me personally, why I've been sober this long is not because of me. It's because I stay connected to God. Personally, because I totally have absolute inability to keep myself sober. If I rely on myself, bro, after this I'll be drinking. You know, I cannot, you know. He can though, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's crazy though because like to come out about my relapse was like really, really hard. Like I wanted to wait at the 6-month mark, so at least I could show people that okay, you can, you know, you can get back on the. But I had to take a break. I had to get off Instagram, my shit back in order because you know, we are taught that without putting our sobriety first, it's a house of cards, and it's so true, man. I had lost my foundation. I wasn't the things that got me sober.
Yeah.
Not doing the things that got me so. I mean, that's insane. How would you think that you would be successful doing that? You know. But you know, my hat goes off to people that can stay sober through Instagram and through connecting with people. You know what I mean? And I love the community, but I have to do other stuff. I need human interaction.
Right.
Live helps. You know what I mean? But seeing people in the rooms and stuff like that's what helps me so much.
Right. Well, right on, bro. And I appreciate you taking the time to come share your story with all of us, bro. It's truly, truly amazing, man. Matt, you inspired me to continue to do what I'm doing, bro. Thank you so much. So now, as we winding down, Matt, I'm gonna start asking you some more questions. Now, first question is, Matt, could you tell us more about A Life Recovered?
So, like I said, I started it in July of 2020. You know, I was like, dude, what? I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of the Zoom meetings. This pandemic really sucked. You know what? I've been on Instagram a lot. Why don't I start it like a little page and kind of share my story, and maybe some of my close friends share their story, and then maybe it'll just be like something that will involve my friends. Because I actually started doing videos on my own Instagram first. I.am Mr. W, whatever. That's my own Instagram. But I started making videos on there, and everybody was like, my brother was like, dude, like, some people don't care about your recovery, bro. I don't want to hear about your addiction. I don't want to hear about your sobriety. I don't want to hear about great things. You know what I mean? Like, some people don't want to hear that shit, which I get. So I was like, okay, let me take it off there and let me do a Life Recovered where people who want to listen to that shit and want to share their story and want to talk about that stuff, they can come follow me or they can come share their, you know what I mean? So I made the page and, you know, it did pretty well. People started like enjoying it. And I was like, wow, like people actually want to share their stories. You know what I mean? I had one of my military buddies who had attempted suicide. He shared his story in the beginning. And I had another girl that she got virus really, really bad. And she had asthma and she had also lost her father. So like, it was just all this stuff was culminating in her life. And so I had these stories of people that were going through these struggles. It wasn't necessarily just addiction, but it was cool. It started to be a little community where people could say, hey, this is what I struggled with. And then all of a sudden, as I shared one story, I had another story that was just like it. And someone was, hey, that resonated with me. And I can actually relate to that girl. Hey, you know what? Can you put me in contact with her? I have some questions. You know what I mean? I was like, holy shit, this is cool. You know what I mean? So I started, I mean, sometimes it's hard to, you know, I got to reach out to people. Hey, your story, you know, because a lot of people are like, well, you know, a lot of people say to me, well, I don't want to do it. What doesn't, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I think actually, you know, Grounded Phoenix, I think Johnny, right?
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah. Johnny, he said something that I loved. And he said, well, you know, a person with 1 month can help someone with 3 weeks, and someone with 3 weeks can help someone with 2 weeks, and so on. And someone with a year can help someone with 8 months. You know what I mean? And so I kept telling people that like, dude, just share your story. You know what I mean? You can help someone else. You're helping me. You know what I mean? I'm helping you right now. You're helping me. We're all helping each other. Mm-hmm. And that's when the story started to build, and you know, it was cool. And it just went from there. You know, but I got a little obsessed with it, like a lot of us do, I think, on Instagram. I was worried, how many likes am I going to have? How many viewers I have? Who's following me? Who unfollowed me? You know what I mean? That like, I would like that and stuff, and I got like kind of consumed with it, dude. And I kind of forgot that, dude, you just got married. You just got married in the pandemic. You know what I mean? And and I was supposed to have a trip back east because my parents wanted to see me now that I was sober, and I was supposed to do it. I was going to fly into New York and I was going to propose there, but I ended up proposing during the pandemic in our house, and whatever, we got married, and it was awesome. I love my wife. She's amazing. She helped her.
Hey, so what was your life like before addiction?
My life was amazing, dude. My life was great. I had a good childhood. You know what I mean? I had great, like I said, I had every opportunity to succeed, and I mean, I was overall, I was a happy guy, you know, but like I said, I was that chameleon, you know what I mean? I was always trying to appeal to every group I was in. But my life was good. You know, I was happy. I thought, because of the way that I grew up in a kind of a privileged area and with, you know, every opportunity to succeed, I figured no matter what happens to me, dude, I'll always be good. You know what I mean? I never thought I'd be on the side of the road alone, you know? Yeah. I was, so, but it was good.
Okay, next question, Matt, is, well, what made you want to get sober? I know you kind of didn't technically say that in your story, so that's something actually I would like to know.
Okay, so yeah, I had seen, like I said, I had seen the rooms of AA when I was kind of forced to go there. I was voluntold, as they tell you. I had seen it, and I knew people were happy, okay, but then when I had gotten out of the military after I got kicked out, and things kind of were going back and forth, and, you know, they always say once you relapse, it always gets really bad really quick. Well, yeah, for me, it gets pretty dark, and I put hands on my wife, and that's when I was like, I'm done, dude. This is it. And I went to rehab, and I had to commit at that point because I was finally with a woman that I really loved. That was, I mean, she was amazing. You know what I mean? So I was like, dude, at first, I was not doing it for me. I was doing it for other people, and then eventually.
Got it. Cool. And then, so can you tell me more about your relapse in September?
So we're moving, and you know, I had seen. People know they have dust off for the computers, like air for your computer, and you know, like I said, I come from that jam band world on the East Coast with that music, and people do nitrous and whippets and things like that.
Yeah.
This would get me, you know, little bit to where I want to be, you know what I mean? But it's not a drink or a drug, so I'm not going to have any issues. Dude, I had already been to rehabs and detoxes and journaling and talking and therapists and sessions and meetings, knowing full well that that is going to take me back to square one. But I still did it. You know, I found that can in a box, moving boxes like this, set it down, hit it, right back to square one, dude. I didn't even see it coming. And I was gonna, I was gonna keep it up as long as I could, because all of a sudden now I'm like, dude, I can't stop. I have the euphoria and I want it again. And I want more of it. And I want it now. And that's how it goes.
Oh man. Okay. So how do you stay sober today?
I stay sober today, doing some of the things that I didn't do before. I also stay sober today by being honest. When I'm not feeling good, when I'm not feeling it, I don't post on Instagram and give everybody else a quote. I don't share a story that day if I'm not really feeling it. I don't, I might eat the food that I want that day and get off of eating healthy. You know what I mean? And I do what's necessary that day to stay sober. I hit a meeting now that they're back in person. And most of all, I look around and I realize what I have now. And I didn't think that all this stuff, I didn't think I was capable of all this. You know what I mean? And I think the biggest thing is that I value what I have now, and I know that it can be taken away. Because it's not a right to have these things are privileges for me at this minute, and I can lose it in an instant. So, I mean, sometimes I run off fear. Sometimes I run off fear, and sometimes my program is strong. You know what I mean? And but I do whatever I have to, and I take my breaks. And honestly, I work out a lot, dude. I work out a lot, and I stay humble, and I always be honest though with what's going on.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I know. I always see you, bro. Like pretty much all your stories, you're on your bike. You know what I mean?
Dude. I love that thing.
Yeah.
And I just try to be honest with how I'm feeling. Like, hey, this is what's going on, guys, today,
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm feeling that way too. And it's like, dude, it's fun, man. Hey, this is what I got going on. It's like my own little virtual meeting in the morning.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I know. It's so cool, man. Just to kind of touch a little bit on what you're saying about honesty. It's just so cool how much freedom it brings. Like how much freedom it brought me. It's just amazing because like my personal program of recovery, what I've learned, working my steps, the first freedom I got was the freedom of the bondage of self. That's the first one I got. And then after that, the next freedom I got was the freedom from people and what they think of me, because that has the huge potential to really stop God's plan that he got for me in my life. If I start caring about too much of what Tom says or what Mary says, or you know what I mean? And kind of, I take my focus off what God wants me to do. And I feel I've got to respond to these people because I need them to love me. I want them to like me. You know what I mean? Things like that for validation. But God validated me already. So I found out, bro, that's all I need. I was like, oh, okay, I'm good now. I learned that to be in step with God, sometimes it'll take you out of step with people. And I understand that, So one last question, bro, before I let you go. What would you say to encourage the newcomer or somebody trying to get clean and sober right now?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. But I
Yeah.
that because I know what I did. It was actually in treatment. And I realized finally, after so many years of suffering behind the bottle and everything, that I may not know what's best for me. I may not have the answers on what to do. I thought for so long that I am my own mentor. I know what's best for me. I have all the answers. I will do what's best for me in any situation. You are of no help to me. You don't know what it's like to be in my shoes, and you cannot help me. And I think once I abandoned that idea that I, have all the answers, I was able to actually kind of eat a slice of humble pie, that guy in the room, and ask him, hey man, what's my next step? You know what I mean? Like, what should I do? And it was so weird though, like asking another man for help, you know what I mean? But I saw these guys in the rooms that were like huge guys that had been on yards for 10 or 15 years. And they were in there crying like a baby about their story and this and that. So put aside what you're scared of, put aside what you're nervous about, and you have to take that leap, dude. I had to get out of my comfort zone and realize that I don't have all the answers anymore. And this thing kicked my ass. You know what I mean? You're not going to be successful. I mean, step one of the program, whether you do smart recovery, celebrate recovery, whatever program you work, you know what I mean? That willingness to accept, hey, I have an issue. This is unmanageable. And I you know what I mean? I have to take some ownership. And that guy over there, he looks like he might have something that I want. And I'm going to do a talk.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Matt, thank you again, brother. I really appreciate your time. You know, eventually, because now that Instagram, you can go live. 4 of us can be live at the same time. I did it once before already. So, you know, I'm trying to think of doing one of those once a month. You know what I mean? With guests I already had on the show and people, you know, but I'll call you more about that too, so we can talk, you know, more about, hey, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate you.
Pretty, man.
Okay, Matt. I'll talk to you later, bro.
All right. Take care, man.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay. All right, guys. So that was Matt's story. Very, very inspiring. In 2 hours, I think. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock at 3 p.m. I'm having another guest on. His name is Robert. You guys see him any length retreat. He's on Instagram. He's going to be here live with me. So stay tuned. We will be back in 2 hours. See you guys then.